This is a 1904 portrait of Lee that was done by a New York artist named Theodore Pine. Pine used a photograph of Lee taken during the war for this portrait, and this was in the possession of the Lee family for many years before it was given to Washington and Lee University. On the other side of the room, we've got George Washington. Now, this is not the original portrait of Washington that ordinarily hangs here. This is a copy. The original portrait by Charles Wilson Peale is now in Williamsburg, Virginia on loan, and we won't get it back until September. But the original portrait was completed in 1772 at Mount Vernon, Washington's home, when Washington was 40 years of age, which makes it the first portrait ever done of George Washington. And it's been in the possession of Washington and Lee University since 1897. After Lee's death, a committee was formed to decide how best to commemorate him. And the committee, working with Mrs. Lee, liked the idea of a recumbent statue, a lying down statue. And Mrs. Lee suggested that Edward Valentine of Richmond could help with this project. Now, Valentine had studied sculpture both in France and in Germany, and he returned to this country after our Civil War, and he eventually was to befriend Lee. Mrs. Lee saw that Valentine was given charge of this statue. He was also given $15,000. And with that, Valentine went all the way to our northeastern state of Vermont, to get a single block of Vermont marble. This light-colored marble was from that original 7-ton block. And it was taken to a studio in Richmond. This was completed sometime between 1871 and 1875. It was then shipped here to Lexington from Richmond, but when it arrived, there was no place to put it because they didn't have enough money to complete this section of the Lee Chapel until 1883, which meant that this statue was kept in storage for 8 years and it wasn't installed here until after the chapel was completed. Now, Lee is not interred here, and never was, because before Valentine was able to complete this statue, Mrs. Lee and one of the 7 children died. The family didn't want him here, isolated apart from the others in the family, so they're all in the family crypt downstairs in our museum below us. And to get to the museum, you can go down that staircase. Lee here is, as you can see, in uniform. He's even got his boots on, and he's asleep. He's sleeping on a field cot near the front